Hola. Hi Franco, hey Fanor, how you doing? All good? Welcome to another afternoon of fun, hopefully. Got some decent movement on the DAX in the end of the day, didn't we? Some very nice moves after we got that breakout. So the initial opening range breakout that was all choppy and horrible and then went sideways for ages. I took that breakout and got a move. So yeah, pretty good. Took another little quick long up there and I'm in a short at the moment. Although I might get out of this in a sec. So made a few points this morning. What am I at? About not a lot. Not a lot. Under 1%. Good day, Harry, David. Stop talking foreign languages. I don't know what you're talking about. Afternoon, Gary. Excuse me. Right. So I'm just taking a short here. Reason for the short is the double top. We're very, very extended today. Well, not extended. We've had a big day, basically, on the DAX. So we've put in a nice, big, strong move on the DAX this morning. We've basically done pretty much the range of yesterday already in this pullback. We could get up to this 137.07, 137.08 basically, which is this wick of this last up move before we had the 3-day collapse. I think it's pushing it to get up there, but it's not far away. So we're watching that level this afternoon if we get up there. But I'm kind of hoping we have done what we want to do today. We've put in a very, very nice, strong up move. So potentially today, I think we may well get a pullback on this morning's move. And this double top went in basically, which I just saw create a nice M pattern. So I've just jumped in a short as we broke those lows. Well, I jumped in a short just before we broke those lows in anticipation of breaking those lows. But we are being supported still. We are in an uptrend, 50-20. So it's counter trend, but I'm trying to catch the top. See what happens. So we got half an hour before the open of New York, which is when it'll all start to kick in anyway. So, and we've still got that gap, as Diamond has just pointed out. But we've got, we're just not interested in filling it at the moment. So I don't think it'll get down there today. You never know, though. We could have an utterly catastrophic afternoon and slam all the way down, but we'll see. I'll see what happens. If you could quickly assist me, type in question now. Okay, David. Afternoon, Trevor. This morning we've had some very good movement across the board on the euros ahead of the movement tomorrow, which we're expecting off the back of the news. So the euro pairs across the board have all had a very, very, very nice, strong dead cat bounce. I think it's a dead cat bounce anyway. I don't know. We'll see. But very good movement today on the euros. Nice big push across everything. We'll say nice big push. We're up basically on Asia. But we've obviously had that push yesterday as well. So most of the yens the euros are having a really good morning. US dollar, not a lot. Had a very flat London, very flat Asia. We've pulled back down, so we'll see where we go from there. But we're nearly at ADR on the US dollar today. Hence, obviously, the indices all rising very rapidly. But these euros, I think we're potentially getting to points where we could start to see some reversals. I don't think this is euro strength at all. I think this is just a dead cat bounce off of that, and we're going to get a next leg down. But like I've been saying all week, it's very difficult to pick where that is going to stop. It's almost impossible to pick a support resistance when you haven't got any You literally got 2 candles to act as support resistance on this thing at the minute. So I don't know how far it's going to get, but we are certainly bottoming out into a channel at the minute. A nice little range, so we'll see what happens with those. Could you quickly show how you set up a dashboard and get rid of the chart in the background? Yeah. ADR on Euro Pound. So with any dashboard indicator, you basically just need to set your properties to basically the background and the foreground white and everything else none. Yeah, and that gives you a completely blank chart. If you change the colours, it will show you what it's going to look like. Gives you a little preview. If you make things none, if you make the foreground none, it doesn't work because the none colour with an MT4 for some unknown reason is black. So you need to set it to white, and then everything else to none, like the grid. If you set the grid to black, obviously it does that. If you set the grid to none, it does that. So you just muck about with it. But yeah, but everything basically is none apart from the foreground and the background. I don't know why the background and the foreground, if you set them to none, turn black, but they do. Just a weird thing. And then obviously turn everything off in here. So you don't want to see the open, high, low, close. You don't want to see the ask, the period separators, grid, anything. All blank. And stick it to line chart. Because the line chart is drawn as none. So that's it. There you go. Right. So, yeah, big movement on the euros. The pounds as well, we've had some decent movement. Whoops, wrong one. We've had some decent movement on that as well today, but it's kind of all recovered. So we had this big drop. Christ, what's going on? Something's going on at the moment. Everything's suddenly flashing. Is the euro going tonto or something? Wow, euro's off the charts for some reason. Hold on a sec. Let's have a look at why that is. I'm not sure what's going on with the euro, but the euro's just taken off. There's no news I can see, but the euro's just off the scale, flying. Not quite sure what that is. Something's obviously just happened. German Chancellor says we're not sending warplanes to Ukraine. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Don't know. Yeah, market's just taken off on the euro again, ahead of New York. So I basically said was going to lead on to say before that suddenly flicked up there. I think this is dead cat bounce ahead of tomorrow's news. So tomorrow we've got obviously the rates coming in at 12:45. I think tomorrow we'll probably get that euro dropping again off the back of the rate announcement and the press conference, unless they say something drastic. So we're expecting a bond sale to happen, which will bolster the euro and put money into the bank ready for defence and energy spend, because obviously they're going to cut 65% of their dependency on Russian oil by the end of the year, which means they've got to put into place an alternative for that. So there's going to be a massive amount of spending on the euro by the Eurozone, and somebody's got to pay for that. So they're going to be selling bonds, and then obviously they will be taxing their people to get the money back, which is what the governments always do, which makes everybody poorer, and everybody in Europe is massively poor, can't afford to buy anything at the moment, which is why the euro is deflated. So I can't see anything positive coming out the back of a bond sale to basically try and bolster their funds, because obviously they're just going to immediately spend all those funds, and it's obviously going to cost a hell of a lot more than they are going to get in. So I think what's going to happen tomorrow is we're going to see this euro, and this is kind of bolstering my thoughts, this euro pumping until the news, and then the news basically collapsing it. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on it. But so far, obviously, euro's having a very, very, very good day. But obviously, after a dead cat bounce comes a second leg. So we'll see. It depends. We don't know. They might come out with something completely different tomorrow, and everyone goes, "Wow, that's amazing." But with your war on the doorstep, it's very difficult to tell what is going to happen with anything from day to day at the moment. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure there is a setup file for each indicator. There's not really a setup file for each indicator, no. I've got a set. I mean, I can do a set file for each indicator. Obviously, just I can save a set file, but yours will be different to mine. Like I've got a pairs suffix on here. You might want different pairs in your ADR dashboard, and you might want different alerts on it. But there's very few inputs on the dashboards, so they're not difficult to figure out. But obviously, you can, if you need help with them, come in the Telegram group. Decided to get into US oil. Hopefully, goes up again. Yeah. So I've just taken. I haven't taken any longs on oil yet. I've got buy stops in place. So this morning, oh God, I wish I could stop changing my dashboard's time frames. So this morning I was basically looking to get into a long position. So I had a buy stop when we opened in London. We started to drop in London, so I had a buy stop above the Asian highs. London oil tanked back down to a double bottom, which we are just putting in at the moment. So I had a sell stop as well, a buy stop as well above the highs. So what I'm anticipating, or what I was anticipating in London, was a break of the high and then a continuation break of yesterday's high and a push on oil. We've had completely the opposite happen on oil. So basically, I still think oil is going up. There's no reason why oil shouldn't go up, I don't think, at the moment. So I've entered another buy stop in there, waiting for another move, and I might actually just go straight above these highs now. 18, 150 a barrel. What the hell? What? Come on, MT4, don't be an idiot. So yeah, going to go for stop under the lows there, and an entry above this 1 hour candle. This is looking like a very, very, very nice support bounce here. It's just getting bought up at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking to get long on oil, basically, and play a fairly long-term trade on it. I'm targeting 150 a barrel. Whether or not we get 150 a barrel, I don't know. But it's not off the cards at the minute with what's going on. So haven't got into it yet, but looking to get into it. ADRs today, Aussie dollar Swiss. We had a nice ADR hit on Aussie dollar Swiss. Beautiful shooting star came in. Also, it was yesterday's high confluence. So that's just started to bounce off the highs. No reversal. I should have had a reversal alert on that. That's not redrawn properly. So we've got a reversal alert, which just happened on there. So looking like a nice little short opportunity on the Aussie. Just want to see if that is other Swiss francs as well. No. Oh yeah. God, this 8 cap takes ages to update. Doesn't seem to load data in very well. Let's see what's happening with the Swiss franc pairs across the board. Hold me a sec. Yeah, so this is the Aussie starting to roll over where we are at the moment. Look at that. It doesn't update the data properly on this platform. Very weird. So yeah, weakness in the Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar's starting to roll over. EuroCAD. Obviously, all these euros now are off the charts. So quite what's happening with these euros, I don't know. I'm just still looking for news. Oh, there we go. A to Zelensky says Ukraine ready for diplomatic solution. I wouldn't believe everything you read. Ukraine aid can discuss neutrality, need security guarantee. Yeah, I wouldn't. everything that I've seen about Zelensky on the news is like, you can sod off, Putin. I'm not interested. So I'd be very surprised if that is real news. Be very careful with fake news at the minute. Obviously, that's going to bolster the euro because obviously the euro is got war on its doorstep, which is not going to be good for the currency. If they decide to, actually, we won't have a conflict anymore, then yeah, that's going to obviously help the euro. But I don't believe that is what that is. So all these euros, obviously, we've had big hits to the upside. I'll be looking to getting short on all these euros. Whether or not this is the right time to do it, I would probably suggest waiting until tomorrow on these. This could be it. We'll see. But I'd rather get in on some euros ahead of tomorrow's news. Wait and see what happens with this. If this pushes up a little bit further tomorrow, probably get a slightly better entry on it. I'm not quite sure why this is moving. This is 3 minutes ago that news has come in. This has been pushing hard for the last sort of 3 hours, but that last move came in sort of 15 minutes ago. So it's not related to that, I don't think. I don't know, it could be. But anyway, news moves the market, whether it's right or wrong. Inflation is the big word. Fear being pushed on Bloomberg. Inflation is happening anyway, regardless. I got my my energy company emailed me this morning. I pay £288 a month for my energy. They emailed me this morning saying that my fixed contract is coming up for renewal in May. Do I want to fix for another 2 years at £695 a month? It's more than double what I'm paying at the moment. So I said politely, no, thank you. I'll go on to a variable rate. So yeah, inflation. It's just starting. We haven't seen the tip of this iceberg yet of what is going to start costing us. It was all going to start costing us before the war started. Now we can't produce food anymore. We've got no oil and gas coming into Europe. It's just going to get way, way, way worse. So inflation is a massive problem. But also Russia inflation is going to be a massive problem as well, which is what I think is probably going to end this war before anything else. The Russian people are now paying 50% more for everything they buy than they were 2 weeks ago. They now cannot buy Coke. They cannot get Procter & Gamble products. You can't buy any McDonald's. You can't use your credit cards. There's a maximum of $10,000 you can draw out of a cash point. They're screwed, basically. The people are not going to stand by and let him carry on doing this, I don't think. I think that's probably what is more likely to end this than anything else, is an uprising within Russia. Because the people of Russia, and there's a lot of them, have basically in the last 2 weeks had their entire lives turned upside down and all their future plans wiped out. So it's more than likely that is probably what's going to finish it off rather than anything else. But how long that will take, don't know. But yeah, inflation for the rest of the world, massive problem. All your indexes dragging down. Oh, hang on, I've got a trade on. Concentrate. Whoa, what happened there? I assume I just got stopped out. Yeah. US indices, yeah. DAX just spiked off of that Euro news as well, unfortunately. Brilliant. Right. So yeah, indices, let's have a look at what's going on with the others. Nothing much going on in the rest of the indices at the minute. Any chance of analysing gold? Gold basically has tanked today. Remember this, obviously I put this fib on there this morning. We were looking at this being the high of the day, and we're looking for a pullback. We certainly got it way faster than anticipated. We've just come straight back down into that support, and we're bouncing. So it's 175 ADR move on gold. So yeah, buy it. I would say. Gold is going to be as long as this conflict is going on, because people will still be buying up gold. The more people exit the stock market, more people exit long-term currency positions they've got, the more is likely to go into metals. Price of palladium went up. I think they even halted trading on palladium. Not sure if I got palladium in here, but no, I haven't. They halted trading on palladium because most of the palladium comes out of Russia, and the price of it had more than doubled literally overnight. So anything tangible metal is going to generally increase in price. It's going to become more scarce, and therefore it's going to appreciate. So gold is a buy until this conflict is over, really. But that's where you want to be buying it. Just got a reversal alert. Beautiful bullish engulfing on M5 at 175 ADR. So yeah, around about now, I would say. Where you would put a stop on that, probably underneath that low in case they do dump it further and look for another double bottom. But it's you see how erratic the market is. Like normal trading on gold is like that, and now trading on gold is like that. It's just, everything is completely nuts. So anything you take, you just got to make sure you put a tight stop and ride it as long as you possibly can, I think. Ukraine is willing to have peace talks. Obviously, Russia is not. They were talking about this morning on the. I've been watching Sky News and BBC News all morning this morning, and they've been saying, even if they did turn around and go, we'll sit down to talks and we will start to give up. Russia is so in this. Putin's not going to go. Actually, don't worry, I'll turn my tanks around and we'll have a sit down. It's not going to stop. He seems hell bent on just completely obliterating that place, and the fact that he's losing, not so much losing, the fact that he is not making the advances he wanted to make is very worrying, because it's going to make him more and more determined to take indiscriminate violent action, where if he'd achieved all of his objectives he wanted to achieve within a couple of weeks, it probably would have been more of a rollover and less aggressive. But right now he's got, I think it's 1 out of 4 objectives completed by the time he wanted to, where he wanted to be now, which means he's cross. So you don't really want a cross man with 8,000 nukes under his belt. But anyway, so yeah, looking at RSIs as well. Euros are the RSI extensions. They're all extended to the upside. I would be looking for Euro shorts. I might take some Euro shorts tomorrow ahead of the news, but I don't want to get into any Euro shorts now from a position trading perspective. But I think Euro shorts tomorrow are probably the best thing to do, and try and get into some fairly wide stopped positions around and about the news. They're either going to work or they're not. But I think tomorrow's when to get into them and try and swing them as far as you can. 4-hour extensions, we've got New Zealand dollar CAD, which is fairly neutral. So that's nicely extended to the upside. We didn't get this was that huge Aussie New Zealand move that we had. We didn't get a very big pullback, as we did previously. So we're just in an accumulation at the moment. If it's going to come down, it's going to come down to there, but it's kind of basing sideways at the minute. Again, just doesn't look very pretty at all. The entry on this one, from a position trading perspective, was entering there on that candle, entering again up there, and you're out there. So if you're position trading this, you've done the trade, it's done. I wouldn't want to get into another one on that at the moment. And US dollar Swiss, again, we spoke about this one yesterday. It looks spot on for a short, but I still think we've got more strength to come through on the US dollar with what's going on at the moment. And at the moment, the Indices sort of having a very deep pullback. And if you look at the US dollar Swiss, it's not moving. So I think there's more strength to come in when the Indices finish this pullback and starts to power up again. The US dollar Swiss is going to fly. We've got a very, very odd Swiss franc at the minute, so nothing's behaving as normal. UK truckers and transport company will be raising shipping prices, and it will feed more UK inflation. There was shipping companies on yesterday saying, they're consuming tens of thousands of gallons of fuel a week, which has gone up by 25%. They're going to have to pass that on to everybody. So everything you get shipped is going to become more expensive. Everything you buy from a food-based source is going to become more expensive because that has to be transported from A to B. It's just we're on the verge of a hideous depression due to inflation, and now this has kicked in. It's just, you couldn't time it any worse, could you? Rolling index is showing green now. Yeah. Let's have a quick look at the indices. We've got 3 minutes to the open. I'm not sure what I'm going to trade today. I've been trading futures this morning. I've banked $200 on futures this morning. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to trade this morning. I'm going to watch the open and see what everything does, and then sort of decide from there, I think, what I fancy trading at the open. So, big move to the upside, obviously, on the Dow. I'm very, very short biased from where we are right now, just purely because we've done such a massive move. I don't think we're going to sustain it. I think from the open, we will probably want to drop. We could finish strong, but I think the market's going to want to start taking some profit out of this. There's been a lot of buying. FTSE's up, S&P, same thing. NAS is up. And obviously the DAX is way up. Very, very, very big move on the DAX. We're nearly there. We've nearly got there, look. 137.08 level on the DAX. Once we get there, I think we're probably going to get a bounce at that level. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to mark that up, actually. Oops. So we're very, very close to that 137.08, 125 ADR. So going to keep an eye on that level and see where we are at the open. So that's the plan today. We've obviously had a very big push today. Big up day. I think we're going to get, we had a massive update and we had nice pullbacks and then we finished strong. So I think we're definitely due a pullback on this, which is why I took that little short there. But obviously that stupid news spiked the euro, which has obviously spiked the DAX. So not a lot I can do about that. News. We love it. We hate it. Okay, 1 minute to the open. Let's have a quick look at where we are on futures. Right. So looking for shorts, basically, I'm just trying to find some levels. So we've got those highs there. We've got potential support there. Let's worry about that. Let's put that there in case we're coming down. Blimey, 15,000 contracts came in on that news. Okay. So open, markets open. See what kind of price action we get. The Dow seems to want to come down pretty hard, and the S&P. Very slow open on the DAX. Okay, I'm going to try one short out the gates. looking heavy at the minute. Keep a fairly tight stop on this, just above that high. Basically playing the idea that the higher the day is in, the higher the day was in there, I thought. Obviously, we had that news, which has spiked the market. There's some buying off the back of it. So that, I would say, is potentially a higher day now. And if that is the case, we should see a very decent pullback starting this afternoon. But if it's not the high of the day, obviously we've got levels above to aim for on everything at the minute. All very similar levels, actually, distance-wise. So we could have another push up. Let's see if we can get one straight away. Be nice to have a runaway day today after having such a big, strong push, but wouldn't want to play it too far to the downside after having so much bullish price action, because it's obviously a bull day at the minute. But a little bit of a pullback on that candle and then another push back up later, potentially, is what I was kind of looking for. Euro US dollar, could we see even money? It could do. How far has it got to go? It's quite a way. That's a long way. But yeah, I mean, it's not off the table, is it? At the moment, nothing's off the table at the minute. Take a lot to get down there, though. Like a nuclear weapon being launched. I was watching, or rather reading an article yesterday about why everybody's got so many nukes. And the general consensus was, so I don't want to doom and gloom it, but I'm just interested in the disparity in numbers of why people have got so many. Like Putin's sitting on an estimated 6,000 to 8,000. Other countries are sitting on a few hundred. And, you know, my thoughts on it were, well, why the hell do you need 6,000 to 8,000 nukes? Surely if you fired 10, you're done, aren't you? And that was basically the consensus of this article as well, was basically the idea behind nuclear deterrent is America cannot defend against 10 to 15 nuclear weapons being launched, and neither can Russia. So it's a case of, well, if you shoot the button, we can't defend, and if you shoot the button, we'll shoot the button, and you can't defend. Therefore, nobody can shoot the button. And that is basically the nuclear deterrent, as they call it, isn't it? So it doesn't really matter if you've only got a couple of hundred or if you've got 50. If you've got 50, you've got enough. So it's just really interesting, the sort of logic behind it, because obviously there's so many people, including me really, that's like, well, why the hell don't you all just get rid of the thing and let's not have that anymore? But, you know, it's an impossible thing to do, because you can develop them obviously in secret and keep it all underground so that nobody knows about them. So you've got to have them as a deterrent, but I don't think anybody would be stupid enough to press the button, because you're instantly signing a death sentence for your country and the country you're firing at, aren't you? But yeah, very, very worrying having someone like that in charge of a button, though, isn't it, at the minute? Can you imagine if Trump was in charge of the button on the other side? Ooh. And Boris Johnson, God. Why do we put these people in charge? Anyway, I'm not getting into politics. They're all brilliant and they're all crap. You can't win. In love with Maria Taddeo on Bloomberg. I'm not watching Bloomberg. I'm watching Sky News at the minute. I'm going to watch Bloomberg now. Oh, you got to buy it. I haven't got it. I've got it on my TV, but I haven't got it on online. I can watch. Called Mad, from what I remember. Mutually aided destruction. Yeah. Assured. Yeah. I was reading about the big ones that Russia have got. I can't remember what they're called, but the big ones where it fires. There's one rocket goes up into the atmosphere, so you can't take it out because you can't shoot it out the sky. It gets above the country, does a U-turn, turns completely down, and then opens up and launches 16 warheads, which you can't take out. So there's one big rocket with 16 nukes in it. And then it basically rains nukes down over whatever country it's sitting on top of. So you can't defend against something like that. And that's the whole point of it, isn't it? You shoot one of those, we'll shoot one back. Oof, it's a bad thinking about. But anyway, we were talking about the euro and the US dollar. So yeah, that's the only thing I can really think that might destroy the euro to that extent. I can't. Not a lot going on at the open at the minute. Very quiet. I've got an opening range break starting. Might have to go on that. Wide stop. If you look at it on the daily, long term, obviously the euro has been steadily declining for a long time now. It's not really. If you look back to sort of when we had COVID, obviously it had a massive push. And we've completely undone everything. So we're basically back to pre-COVID times. And in pre-COVID times, we were in a decline. So where we are now is kind of essentially where the euro could well start to recover. But obviously, the impact of COVID has not helped at all. And they haven't managed to recover properly or as quickly as everybody else. So there is potential move for a breakdown below this. But getting all the way down to $1 means, putting in a big old move. It's going to be very difficult to get back down there. That's 2016 before it pushed again. We didn't get it there. I don't. But who knows? At the minute, I wouldn't put anything past anything. So trying an opening range break. I got in a bit early there before the candle broke. So I got inside bars forming on the 5-minute opening range at the moment. No real directional bias at the open. Multiple MIRVs. God, David, you're a bit too knowledgeable about all this lot. Multiple independently targeted re-entry vehicles, yeah. Scary stuff, isn't it? And he's upgraded them all, hasn't he, in the last couple of years? He's replaced all of his old ones with brand new ones. So, what's happened to the old ones? He's obviously still got them, I assume. That's why he's got 6,000 or 8,000 of the things. We dismantle our US short-range light tactical weapons. Russia didn't. Yeah. I think if he was to press the button would be pressed on Ukraine, wouldn't it? I think it would be a desperation tactical, like 1 megaton or something, just to take out part of the Ukraine, and the use of it is the point, isn't it? What does NATO do if the use of it happens? It's the whole thing about the Americans with these MiGs that Poland have said, right, you can have all of our MiGs, but we're not going to give them to you. We can't. So can you give them to him, the US? And the US has gone, well, no. That's basically NATO aiding the Ukraine. So NATO is now involved. Therefore, if NATO is involved, we're at war with Russia. It's an impossibly political situation, isn't it? Just can't get over it. He sold them to India, did he? The old ones? Oh, yeah, and the nuclear armed subs, yeah. They're all... Yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't there? But hey, let's hope a sniper gets within shooting distance. Just sorts it all out. That would be nice. So we're still within 15-minute opening range. Oh, sorry, 5-minute opening range. We haven't gone anywhere yet. It's looking bullish at the moment, though. We've got decent wicks to the downside across all indices. Euro Swiss I think it was 125 ADR on the Euro Swiss. Yeah, so Euro's still pushing. We probably will see a DAX push in that case. Yeah, if Putin wants Ukraine, he would only use tactical nukes to destroy the certain assets, yeah. I mean, there's not going to be anything left of it anyway to take, is there? What's the point? Raising it to the ground. After you've launched a campaign like that and had the entire world cut off your economy, you can't rebuild the place. So basically, he's essentially wiping it out just for fun because he's not going to be able to do anything with it, is he? Pointless. Totally pointless. Chinese loan defaults are a sleeping disaster waiting. Yeah, I know. There's lots of it's doom and gloom. Do you know what? Since COVID, we were doing really well until COVID hit, and now since COVID hit, it seems like the entire world, everything to do with finance, to do with conflict, to do with disease, to do with poverty, to do with inflation, to do with everything. Everything is like falling apart, literally falling apart. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, and Heineken as well. Just watching. Heineken have said they're not going to supply beer to Russia anymore. That's really going to annoy them. Imagine going into a Russian bar and only being able to drink vodka. What a nightmare. Not quite sure how popular Heineken was in Russia, but not anymore. And that's not going to help the stock market as well, is it? All these big names, which are all in the Dow, they're all in the S&P. They're all pulling out of Russia, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, what is it, maybe 10, 15, 20% of their revenue will come from, it's a big country, Russia. If all of a sudden they've lost 20 to 30% of their sales, can you imagine what the quarterly figures are going to be like on the next quarterly release? It's not going to be good, is it? What's that going to do to the stock market? It's just all a spiral. Spiraling collapse, apart from gold and oil. But hey, we don't care. We're playing 5-minute charts and can do what it's like long term. As long as we know what we're doing on the intraday, it doesn't matter, does it? So we're still, obviously, as you can see, within 5-minute opening range. I'm going to play the same sort of thing as I think I did earlier with the opening range of Frankfurt. So we went into that accumulation. So I tried a short and I tried a long out of the range. One of them will work. Just not a lot of movement at the minute. Sorry, when you say push, I never know if you mean long or short. If I say the word push, I'm typically referring to it pushing higher. So the euro's pushing. Push or a drop. We are 125 ADR across the board on a lot of these now. God, look how long this takes to update this platform. This is not as good. The feed on this seems to be very delayed for some reason. Don't know why. So we are topping out on all the euros at the minute, and the DAX is topping out as well. That might well have been the last flurry and high of the day gone in there. Well, I might. That's going to be a bit too much risk. I might play this as a longer term trade. That's going to take me up to, that's 1% risk up there, roughly. Just under 1% up there, I think. So I might just put my stop above higher, what essentially could be high of day. If this is going to work out this short, then obviously I'll look to play this slightly longer term. If it's not going to be high of day, we're likely to come back up and touch this area anyway, so I might as well stop out on it. It's 1%. So it's a little bit more risk than I would normally take on an initial position, but we are really stalled at the minute, so looking a little bit more bullish on the American indices. Morning, Hamza. Contra argument on oil would be the US pressure on OPEC. Yeah, I think with oil, the problem with oil pricing is not so much demand and supply, because the America have got oil reserves. They're a net exporter, so they can produce way more than they need in America. We can't do that in Europe. The main advantage to the Russian supply is cost of delivery, and if we now need to suddenly start buying oil from elsewhere, the cost of delivery of oil is going to be increased. Therefore, the cost of to consumer basically is going to be increased, which will drive oil prices up. And there'll be probably less production storage as well. So less barrels is usually higher pricing. So I think that's probably more what will drive the oil prices up rather than the fact that Russia will just stop supplying. But I don't know. It's difficult to tell at the minute. Things are changing so fast, as you can see. I mean, look at oil. And what it's been doing. It's collapsing at the minute. We've had massive gaps, huge volatility spikes. Yeah, remember Tuesday? Hideous. And then total collapse. But back down to support. It's just volatile, totally volatile. Everything. I've got to my first long. Just realised that's just triggered. So first long position's taken on oil. It's just got me in there. So like a reversal alert on that, please. And a nice little retest. And then that's got me up into my second position. Hopefully we'll get some push from there, but we'll see. Got fairly tight stop on this. We're down at 125 ADR. Might get taken out on this initial attempt, but it's only a small, it's less than 0.5% risk. We're going absolutely nowhere here. $333.69. Yeah. Real indecision at the minute. I was just going to go with a sell stop. Sell one more. So we're just taking out that low. Let's see if this is the start of a move. DAX short starting as well. US dollar bottoming out as well. Well, bullish price action coming through anyway. Euro Swiss doubled its weekly range. Just got to be careful of these moving averages, because if we are going to continue higher, obviously this is where we're going to be bouncing from. There'll be a lot of people seeing this. This is why I use the 20 and the 50 on lower time frames, because they are used by so many traders. They almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everybody's watching the 2050. So therefore, when we get to the 2050, we get buy-ups quite often happening here. When you get a break below and a confirmation break below, you know you're kind of getting on the right side of it. Obviously, we're not the ones, institutions aren't watching them, but when you break them, you know the institutions are starting to shift. Just on a break at work. UF hasn't done anything all day. Still in your long, Andy. Yeah. We were just talking about US dollar Swiss. Obviously, the US dollar has been coming down all morning in London, but US dollar Swiss has gone absolutely nowhere. So completely sideways. David did 3 hours worth of backtesting the high and low strategy on Aussie US just to see the results, and to say the least, they are spectacular. Awesome. Aussie US. Good currencies to trade, because you've got one Asian and one obviously in the US session. So it's always good. All the Aussie crosses are good, and the New Zealand's, but you only pick one of them. Cross session pairs are really good to trade, because you get a lot of movement in one session, and then when that session goes to sleep, the other session takes over. So you tend to get very good market structure happening, because you've got only one session in control at a time. Whereas with things like Aussie New Zealand, you get a lot of that because everything is happening in the same session. I'm just going to get in another short. If we continue to break down, a little bit wary of this propulsion move off of the euro. If that propulsion move, if that was that aid to Zelensky about the diplomatic solution potentially that he's looking at, just a little bit worried we might get some buyers stepping in here and buying up more. But judging by that, I would say that was a speculative move with a profit take. Sorry, UF short. You're in UF short. Doesn't matter which way you are. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, you want to be short on that, definitely. Looking at the other US pairs, US dollar CAD started to come down nicely. US dollar yen thought about it, but there's not a lot of movement on the US. It's a risky one, shorting the US at the minute. Stuck. Okay, potentially double bottoming at the minute across all the indices. A lot of people buying up the double bottom bounce, unfortunately for me. Willing to give this a little bit of breathing room though at the minute. We are so high on the day. I think there's a good chance of a pullback. We could easily get a day like yesterday. You know, big strong move up, and then New York just says nope, sell it off. I still think we, on all the indices, we need to come down and challenge these lows. I think we need to retest this area. At least retest it. I think we need to slam through it, but we should at least retest. Got a nice support there, resistance rather. Franco, I've enjoyed everyone's fundamental reports and views. This is a well-informed crew of traders. Not sure anybody's that well-informed. We've all got good opinions. That's probably it. Best way to put it. Wow, this is slow. This is just like this morning. We're going to be sitting here for half an hour watching this thing go sideways, aren't we? Yeah, all very wiki this morning. I was contemplating trading 1 minute this morning, this afternoon rather. But I just didn't want to do it this morning because it's a bit. We've had so much of this sideways, and you just get caught all the time in all this sideways movement. And the other thing about M1 is it encourages you to scale in a lot faster. Excuse me. When you're scaling in quick, you obviously you get burnt. If you're wrong, you get burnt more. So better off with slower price action. Oh, news in 1 minute. Well done, David. We've got Jolt. Job openings. Oh, that's why it's quiet. There we go. Jolt said. Positive. Quite substantially positive. Doesn't tend to do a lot though, Jolts. Basically, Jolts is kind of like newspaper. It's basically how many jobs are available, and you could read that in two ways. From an economic perspective, there's a load more jobs available. Great, that means there's a load of people unemployed, or there's businesses expanding. They have more jobs, but they can't find people to fill them. Negative. So it's very difficult to read it, and I think that's why the market doesn't tend to move a lot on that, because it can mean a lot of things. And obviously, it tends to be not so much of a leading economic indicator as a reactionary one as to what, it's a byproduct of the economic situation. So DAX pushing up. Still in the opening range. Franco, going home to lick your wounds and recharge your brain. Good idea. If you're having one of those days, looks like I'm about to have one of those days again. Gonna watch that high. Gonna start scaling out up here. Wow, big pop through that high. Just watching the ticks up here to see if we tick that back down below that. If we go up, I'm off. Yeah, I'm off. One, close one. Just thinking about it. Still not taking that high out. DAX is still within the opening range. Okay, going short one more. Just going to bring my stop down. See if that's basically got a lot of sellers stepping in at the top there. So if they can absorb all those buyers' orders at these highs, this is obviously high of the session. If we can absorb all those orders at the highs, we could well see them sort of step in and push back down again. This is where we've basically been absorbing all the orders previous. So it's either going to work again or it's not. If it does work again, just scaling in with that other position, and we'll close the whole lot out if we break up there. If it is going higher today, it's going to be a big old day. Very extended. Yesterday's high is 42.74. What's that line up there? Look for signs of weakness up there. If we get up there. Another choppy day. Got the reversal out on M5. So hopefully we'll get the retest here. Should be able to get back up to there at least if we are just going to go into sort of a sideways day from the rest of this movement, but we'll see. What's oil doing? Oil's pulling back a little bit. Again, we've got the reversal alert on oil. So potential market structure shift happening. You are Franco. Have a good one. Get a few sellers starting to step in. Nothing convincing at the minute though. I've got a load of trees being delivered today. The lorry's just turned up. So I may have to run and help him unload. If I do, I shall let you know. But hopefully he'll be able to unload them himself. I'm not sure how much assistance they need with trays. So still holding up on at the top here. Slowing it. Got this propulsion gap formed and one just about to form on the NAS. Seems to be holding price up at the minute. Right. So I'm just watching my tree delivery man out the window. When can start normal position trading again using the EA mean reversion? Whatever you want to, Rahat. I mean, there are some you can trade now. When you think normality has returned to the market, I don't really have an answer for that. I'm going to give it this week and see where we are at the end of this week. And then start to potentially build some positions. I want to just want to see what happens over the next couple of weeks with sanctions. I can't. The reason I want to give it a couple of weeks is because I can't see it being more than a few weeks before we've put every sanction possible in place. If every sanction possible has been put into place, we should see normality returning to the market to a certain extent, because it's when things are being changed which have potential economic impact that we're seeing differences happening in the market. We're seeing money flooding in and flooding out of currencies. That isn't going to change while there is talk of continuing sanctions. There's only so many things governments can do to Putin and Putin can do to governments before we have come to a point where we're like, right, we're not talking to each other anymore. At that point, the rest of the world is going to get on with it. Unless he does something ridiculous and drags the rest of the West into a war. And at that point, no idea what's going to happen. So it's very dangerous to be trading when we're in this particular point where things can change so quickly. Small time frames like this, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference whatsoever. So that's why I'm basically doing this at the minute rather than position trading. But I will obviously get back into position trading as soon as I see some sort of normality starting to creep back in, I think. Or it de-escalates. If it de-escalates, then things will get back to normal. There's not really an answer to that question. If you want to position trade now, you can do. Breaking out the high on the DAX. Looks like all these trades are going to stop out. Things are still moving up and down on a lot of currencies. I think you've just got to limit the currencies that you're trading to safer currencies: Aussies, New Zealand's, Swiss, yen, because they're not being affected at the minute. Let's see if we get this high taken out. Real indecision here. That's a big tree. Sorry. Right. Looks like we're going to get stopped out on this. It's going to bounce at these highs. I just know it. I just don't want to put too much more risk on the table on these. It's 180 down. I'm going short one more up here, but I'm going to reduce the risk down to, whoops, sorry. Going to reduce the risk down to tiny amount, about 1/3%, less than that. Just to try and get a second position in. Literally just playing the fact that this is potentially going to be the high. I knew it. Why don't I listen to myself? Should have just let myself have that breathing room, but it's getting a bit too hot. That was $400 loss, that trade, so can't let it run forever. Nice little scalp off those highs there. Got a little bit of divergence creeping in on the Dow and the Nas again. And the S&P. So it's slightly weaker Nas. Didn't manage to make new highs. DAX is coming up to test those highs. I want to see a big reaction off of this, basically. I want to see a rejection and a quick rejection. Nice big bearish candle. If not, I think we're just going to go into a very slow, grindy rotation up here this afternoon. Continue this trend, which means buying dips. But the fact that we've moved so high today, very hard to chase longs up here. It's the biggest bull day we've had for a long time. Yeah, very big bull day. So 137.07, 137.08 level. So play this afternoon will be, if this level doesn't hold, waiting for us to get up there. Then I'm going to enter some short positions up there and look to play maybe a quarter to a 50% pullback on this. Looking at that high, maybe 133.38 level. So looking for a decent pullback. Whether it ends there or not, I'm not really bothered, but looking for a 50% pullback. And then it can obviously do what it likes after the pullback's complete, if we get there. But that's really the only play I've got left today. It's just, I don't want to chase it up here. Chasing longs when you're this extended on a daily candle is just asking for trouble. Especially when obviously we could have news coming out at any second that's going to impact stuff. And we've got the Euro ECB tomorrow, so can't see that being positive either. So we've just touched through the highs, new high of the day. Toying with the idea of getting in short off the back of this candle. We just stop at the high. Just waiting to see what happens at the beginning of this candle. As soon as we start to go bearish on it, there we go. Going to get in one short. Small stop. It's difficult trying to pick the tops, but you've got to get in at some point. And I don't think it's going to retrace a massive amount, which is why I'm trying to get in with a really tight entry, because I don't think we're going to get too much out of it than sort of down these sorts of levels, if that. It's a really bullish day. taken out on that entry. Cancel that pending off. Okay, so approaching that level on the DAX. Nice big rejection on the Dow, which we didn't quite get on the Nas. The Nas is just trying to push up higher and get a new high in today. We're above the moving average. Structure is up. Why would you consider selling? It's mean reversion trade. Yeah, because the daily range is completed, basically. Yeah. Trend trading. With every obviously style of trading, whether you're trend trading, mean reversion trading, or range trading, there is a point when they come to an end, and you've got to look at this candle at the moment and say, right, well, this is the biggest daily candle we've had put in for a long time, and likelihood is it's not going to go much higher than that, because we are extended to 125 of its normal average daily range. And with indices, you don't tend to get much outside. You know, they stick within the daily ranges more than normal, because it's a tangible product. It's a stock. It's not a rate between two currencies like Forex. It's a different. There's a different driver behind it. So when you get to this extension, mean reversion is the best opportunity, because the trend, if it does continue, is not likely to go too much further, is it? So if you get into a trend trade, the upside is limited. The downside on a mean reversion trade is much, much, much bigger. So the reward is higher taking a short than it is trying to get into a long. We're also coming up to a potential resistance at the low of that wick. And that's the same for all indices. Yeah, we're putting in a huge candle on the S&P, which is why the price action slowed up here. We've got an extended range, but there's no direction. We're not moving far, are we? So the opportunity for a drop is much, much greater. Look at all these candles. Yeah, look at the daily candles. Whenever you see a candle with a big wick, yeah, like that, with a big wick, what had happened before that was this candle here looked like that. And it ended up looking like that. So this was a red candle. So down here, everyone bought it and made it into a green candle. It's what we call a red to green move, or a green to red move if it's in inverse. This one here was from that high, we opened low, and it basically pushed down all day. Then New York opened, and New York went, nope, we're going to turn into that. Yeah. So what I'm expecting here is Asia and London, or rather London, Frankfurt and London, have pushed this up to a massive candle. New York are now going to try and reverse some of that, because they've got nowhere to go. The stock's been bought. Stock's expensive today on everything that's been bought up. So they'll be selling stuff off. So I'm looking just literally for some of that candle to be eaten away. Best case scenario, that candle there turns into that candle there. We end up with a down day. There's nothing to stop this ending up as a shooting star short. And this is where things like your fib's going to come in. Yeah, so this is a daily candle. This is a massive bullish daily candle at the minute, right? If this is going to end as a bearish candle today, i.e. what happened to this yesterday, that is going to happen. Boom, boom. Yeah? And visualize it. If we're going to end up painting like this candle in inverse, it's going to end up moving down 50% there. So we'll pull back to roughly there. That will paint a candle that looks like that on the daily. But it's still bullish. Yes, I'm just basically looking at where we are, where we've been, and where we're potentially going. If you're going to make trades that are going to work, you need to look into the future. Looking at the past is useful because you can see what's happened in the past, but what we need to know is what's happening this afternoon. And this afternoon, it's less likely it's going to push up into a much, much bigger candle, is it? It doesn't do that. Sometimes it does. But when that candle was put in, it would have started about there, and New York would have pulled it down and pushed it up. At the moment, New York's going to have a real tough time pushing higher. Therefore, bias is short. Bias all day has been with the moving averages. It's been trending all day. Trends come to an end. When trends come to an end, you get mean reversion. Reverts to the mean. So this is a mean reversion entry. Potentially. Might not be. Might just go through, at the moment, who the hell knows what's going on? Market can do what the hell it likes whenever it wants. At the moment, it can do what the hell it likes to the extreme, can't it? So, which is why it's such difficult trading conditions at the minute. But that's that's my take on it at the moment. If I'm wrong, I get stopped out and I have a down day. You have to take the down days with the good days. Same with the DAX. Yeah, look at the DAX candle yesterday. If we're going to end up with the same candle as we ended up with yesterday, this thing's going to pull back 38%. So if we look at where we are at the moment, from the Frankfurt Open, well, let's go from the Frankfurt. That was the gap close, wasn't it? So let's use the Frankfurt opening range low. Yeah. So if we're going to end up with a candle similar to yesterday's candle, based on the Frankfurt Open, we're going to end up with that much retracement. We should end up coming back down to somewhere around there. Therefore, I'm shorting it. It could end up looking like one of those in reverse. Could end up looking like that. In which case it's going to absolutely tank. No idea. But you've just got to take a stance on it. Which is why the opening range breakout trades are so good. There's our opening range high and low. We broke out the opening range high. Yeah. Put a stop at the opening range low. Pull back. Push. So they work really well in a trend day. If you're going to have a range bound open, a rotation at the open, opening range breakouts don't work. You don't know what's going to happen at every open. You just have to play one and hope that is the one that is right, which is exactly what I did this morning, didn't I? When we got to that accumulation down there. So you see the trades there. Yeah, that was a cancelled trade. But we went into an accumulation. I took an opening range break. That was a tight scalp, which wasn't a proper opening range breakout trade. But we went into that accumulation. So I said, didn't I, this morning, if you were here this morning, I'm going to take a short, I'm going to take a long. So I placed a pending order at these lows. I placed a pending order at those highs. I said one of those is going to break out, one of those is going to work. Yeah. So I took a short. That stopped out. I took a long. That played out. That was 0.5% risk. That was 1% reward. Just have to, just playing the odds, basically. It's all you can do when you're intraday. And at the moment, the odds are the thing's absolutely shot and extended to death. But we'll see. Hence me going in a little bit stronger with 2 contract positions up here, because if this is going to be the high of the day we're putting in at the moment, there's only one way this is going to go. So I'm going to capitalize on it when it comes down. And I'm not sure how far it's going to come down. Therefore, I want to get in with a slightly larger position so that I don't have to move it so far to make a profit. Just adjusting risk based on potential reward if the move plays out. But if it doesn't play out, it doesn't play out. If it doesn't play out, this probably will be my last trade of the day, because I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go if it breaks these highs. It could just creep up and do little creeps, but it's a big day, that is, isn't it? But we're looking fairly bullish on the Dow. Undecided on the DAX, the Nasdaq. Totally undecided on the S&P at the minute. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollars hit ADR. Big strong push. That's New Zealand dollar weakness. So we got a weak New Zealand dollar at the moment. Big drop on the New Zealand dollar. Dollar's still asleep, look. Wow, what a session. My God. I was hoping for a push to the 50% of the fib of the last 4 days fall at 42.80, which lines up with the wick lows in January and the candle body lows of October. Wanting to short there if we reach it. Yeah. Good confluence. More confluence you got, the better. $42.80. Yeah, I mean 40. That's the line I've got drawn in because it's the recent resistance, roughly. Yeah, we've rejected that level a number of times. Yeah, can do anything. Very difficult to tell. Looks bullish at the minute. We've got lots of wicks to the downside at the moment. Looks like it wants to push a little bit higher. If we do get a push higher, I might have one more crack at it short. Very undecided though where we are at the minute. For ORB, I think the hedge EA you're working on can work well. I've stopped working on that, Rahat. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I've tested it. I basically extracted the opening range breakout scripts from the EA, basically. And I tried it, and I tried it with martingale, with half martingale, without martingale, and it doesn't produce results. It produces amazing results with martingale, but at some point in the year it will blow your account. Doesn't work. Still pushing up. Looks like I'm stopped out on that, or will be stopped out on that in a minute. The DAX is still pushing. I would imagine these are going to push in a second. So the DAX is off. I presume the euro is still off then. Just powering up again on the euro. Slightly. Having another sell stop. And I've got that one there as well. So I didn't trigger on that, obviously sell stop, because we're still pushing up. So a little bit of a push. Rejected the highs. All rejecting now. Yeah, so the opening range breakouts, basically, for those of you that don't know what Rahat's talking about, we were looking at the opening range breakout strategy, where you take a break of the opening range, which is that candle there, into long. If the opening range breakout doesn't work, you take a short, and assume we're going to go with the short move at the open. If that doesn't work, again, you go long, and you keep doing that until the move starts. And obviously the moves will start. Yeah, you don't get an opening range that goes on forever. At some point, that opening range breaks. So the idea was to use a martingale strategy to basically break out the highs and the lows, and obviously with martingale follows accounts. But I did back testing on it with the price action toolkit EA, and it looked like in the back testing that I did, it never got more than 6 breaks before the actual break started, and that break obviously then went, and that's where you made your money. But if you back test this over a period of a year or more, you will find you will always get a point where you will get an awful range which just goes on and on and on. And the problem being is the back tester will not let you go beyond 50 lots. So what it was doing is it was getting to 50 lots, 50 lots, 50 lots, 50 lots, and just eating the account away. If it was able to do martingale, that would be fine. But I was using it with a percentage balance, and you can't get the contracts on, can't get the lots on. So don't work. It looked promising, but martingale. Good old martingale. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Just tapped up into the highs again on the S&P. NAS, we just tried highs again. Still getting more rejection up there. Definitely running out of steam. I just get this feeling any minute now we're just going to get that. Market's just going to give up. Buyers are just going to give up. We're going to get a sell-in flurry at some point. Just trying to catch it, basically. But at the moment, really doesn't seem to want to drop, does it? DAX pushing higher on the day. So again, just keeping these sell pendings in place. Try and catch it when it comes down. If it doesn't come down, obviously, don't get into trades. It doesn't hurt. On the S&P, I'm looking for a possible stop hunt above yesterday's high, which also coincides with the Fibo extensions, selling at 42.80. Yeah. Yeah, we've got this propulsion gap basically down here, ever so tiny, where we didn't come up and test this wick. It's very, very close though. But yeah, that would be the next level, definitely for short. It's trying very, very hard. It's 42.81 and 42.74. So it's 42.75 is what I got marked. So that zone basically there. $42.80. Do you know what I might do? What's risk on that going to be? 180, 200. It's about $300 risk. if I get stopped out on that position, it's going to be around about $100 loss. I'm going to get in again up there, because if it does get up to those levels, I think that's probably where we're going to get our reaction. So I may as well take a $300 loss if that gets invalidated, because if my idea gets invalidated up there, it gets invalidated. But I'm only going to get back in again, so may as well go for it. But I think we're stalling really badly here. This channel is just running out of steam completely across all indices, apart from the DAX. DAX is the only one that's really still having a go. Going one more sell stop under the last. Getting some rejection up there now. I got fantastic results, as you say, Lee, straddling long and short using the EA on the 8 a.m. London candle. Blew a 20k account in the end. Don't do it, yeah. Only a matter of time. In the end, you will get an accumulation day. Yeah, it's very, very rare. It is very rare. The play that I did this morning is what you need to do. You need to do one long, one short with equal lot sizing and just go for a 2-to-1. And that's a good strategy. But the other thing you've got to bear in mind is the opening range distance as well. The bigger the opening range, the harder it is to make it profitable, because the larger the opening range is, the further away your stop is, the more distance it's got to travel to get you a 2-to-1 risk reward or 1.5 risk reward. So the tighter, like we got a lovely tight opening range in New York today. And you see, obviously, if you'd have taken the opening range high break, you'd have been nicely in profit on this on the DAX this morning. If you'd have taken that short, you'd have had that much risk. So you'd have taken a loss of 67, and you'd have taken a profit at the moment of 69. So you're on a 1-to-1 there at the minute. And then obviously if this pulls back and continues, there's your profit. So the tighter the range. But this one down here, if you were playing the opening range break on this, you've got a 141 stop. So you've got to go 200 odd plus, which is, just about hit it, which took hours. So I think the took 2 hours to get there. So I think the size of the opening range is something that comes into it as well. So I think if we did some more testing on that and set a maximum opening range, I think you'd probably find that might work better. But again, I don't really want to pursue it with martingale because, as most people have, I've been down the martingale route many, many times in the past and never works. Eventually it gets you. People have been trying it in blackjack, roulette, craps. It's a gambling strategy, This isn't a gamble. This is a business. This is not a gamble. So, martingale shouldn't really be. But loss recovery, don't have a problem with loss recovery. Slight increases in your position sizing based on odds. I don't have a problem with that. So increasing your position size by sort of 1.5 maximum, 1.3 ideal. That works because especially with mean reversion, because obviously if you're trying to mean revert after a strong push and the mean reversion doesn't happen, the odds of the mean reversion increase with each push, which is exactly the same as I'm doing here. The odds of this doing that today are very, very, very small. And that's the whole point of the ADR indicator, is to show you the odds. Yeah, we're at 125 here. There's a 23% chance it goes beyond 125. There's a 12% chance it goes beyond 150. The odds are massively in your favor if we get up to there. Therefore, if you got into a position here which failed, if you get into a position there with a slightly bigger contract size, the odds are way higher that second trade will work out. which is why on the EA, with the mean reversion, the H4M15 and the H1M5 strategies, using a 1.3 multiplier, you only ever really get into 4 positions. If you get into 4 positions, you're out. And that's, normally it's 1, 2 or 3 positions and you're out. But that is not a breakout strategy. Yeah, the mean reversion strategy, we've had the breakout. We're looking for the profit take. With a breakout strategy like the ORB, you don't know how long the range is going to last before the breakout happens, and that's where the martingale fails, which is why I think it fails. So, but yeah, tried it. You've got to give it everything a go. You've got to research everything. Just going to go with, just going to move one of these pending sells underneath that low. Still not gone anywhere on the DAX, the Dow, or the NAS. What a range. What a hideous range. Maybe this is going to hold up here today. Who knows? You've got a friend in Angola that martingales his account, doubles his 5k account and pulls the cash out, keeps doing it until the 5k account is blown. Then he walks away for a week and comes back. He's doing really well with it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you are aware of the fact that you are going to blow your account at some point and you don't get cross when you do it. I think the problem with martingale is what everybody tries to do with martingale is they stick it in an EA and they will back test that EA and they use a percentage risk on their account, and what they see is that curve. Yeah, because what they're doing is they're compounding their profits, increasing their size, and all of a sudden you're turning this into a massive win. If you use martingale with a fixed risk and a fixed lot rather than a percentage, you will see at some point the real result of it. And that's not what people do. People want to see that compounding it because everybody's told to do it, aren't they? That you're told to compound your account. Get a 5k account, turn it into a 10k account, increase your contract size, turn it into a 20k account. What they don't realise is you've got to be consistently profitable for 3 to 6 months to be able to do that. You're not a consistently profitable trader for years. Doesn't work. So compounding on paper, brilliant. The other problem with compounding is when, like me, you've got yourself up to a 200k account and you're trading $200,000 and you're entering the market with high contract sizes, as I used to trade with big amounts like this. I don't do it anymore because I can't handle it. You try taking on a 200k account and watching every single tick make $100 to $200 in profit in your account. When that thing gets to $500 in profit in your account, you go, oh, I'm taking it. I made $500. What you're not doing now is using risk reward properly. Because you're using and focusing on the money, which is why I say all the time, and I built into this a percentage increase. You need to concentrate on percentage increases, because if I trade this account, which is a 50k account with a percentage gain target, if I'm trading this as a $5 million account, my percentage gain target is still the same. I'm looking for a percentage increase, not money. And that's the problem. Everybody compounds it and they say, I'm going to start with a 1k account and I'm going to build it to $1 million. You try trading a $1 million account. Every single tick in that is costing you or making you $1,000. You won't be able to handle it. Some people will. I don't know. Yeah, so there's people out there that can. Don't know any personally. I know somebody that trades $200 a tick. Balls are still. Absolute balls are still. But he's taking 20, 30 points out the market at a time and then he's done. That's it. It's different. It's very, very different psychology. But that's what attracts people to martingale, is the fact that you can grow an account quickly, and you can. But the trouble is sometimes you're going to, like that person in Angola, he'll blow a 5k account and then all of a sudden he'll blow another 5k account. That will make him cross. He'll put the next 5k account in and he'll start with a double size contract because he's got to get that 10k back. That won't go well. Yeah, it doesn't breed good habits. But increasing your contract size with probability, I don't have a problem with. As long as I'm sitting there accepting the risk of $300 instead of $100. I've accepted that risk, and I know that my day is either going to end as a minus $500 day today, or it's going to end at around about a plus $300 day. Those are my outcomes today. You have to accept. Just accept it. I'm not going to get in with 5 contracts short if this goes and hits this stop. The probabilities are massively high, but I know if that 5 contract stop goes the other way, I'm going to end up with a $1,500 down day, and I don't want that. So you have to control it. It's a pump and dump. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Looks like nice confluences between Fibbo extensions and RK's Fibbo retrace, both coming in at 42.80. Yeah, 42.80 is a good level. But, my problem with fibs is always they are never accurate. It's an area, it's a rough area. It all depends when people step in. But somewhere around there is a good short, definitely. Especially after the day we've had. Look, still pushing up. We're trying to get a new high of the day in. DAX still pushing. Again, getting ready to short this. But the way to trade this is to get in short. When you get that bearish engulfing that sticks and you get another bearish candle off the back of it, scale into the positions, add to the winning positions, and then take the profit on the trade, but add into it as it comes down. Which is obviously where I've got my positions at the moment. So if this initial position here works, I'm going to scale into a second one on a break of that low. If those 2 contracts work, I'll scale in when we break that low, and then I'll be looking for where we're getting out. But it'll be based on how many points up I am, and whether or not I've made a few $100. Nasdaq's struggling. Yeah, they're all struggling. Everything's struggling up here. Look at this. It's hideous. This is what we had, isn't it, this morning? This is an absolute textbook repeat of the Frankfurt Open. Yeah, we opened, we broke out, we weren't sure where we were going. We came up and we accumulated for half an hour. And then all of a sudden we went, yep, we're going long. Problem today is it's already gone long. Very unlikely we're going to get a breakout and trend continuation long because everything's exhausted. We're already up here. More likely we're going to get an accumulation breakout short. Or we're going to go and just literally, we're going to rotate for the entire session, in which case no one's going to make any money. There's nothing you can do, is there? You have to take what the market gives you. You can't force the market to give you money. $200 a tick. Good heavens. Yeah. It's a lot. But his ethos is, he's scalping. He's scalping M5 and M1, but he's in and out. Yeah. He'd be in on a long there and he'd be out on a long there. Literally, that's it. But what more do you need? If you're taking that sort of trade, yeah, if you get in on that strong close candle there, for example, yeah, and you get out on that strong close candle there, that's it, you're done. That's 21 points, $200 a point. Do the maths. That's what you need. But you've got to be consistent with it. Still going nowhere. I'm ready to scale in, but it's not cooperating. Yeah. Yeah. It's not cooperating at all, is it? Really, really odd price action, this is. Market's absolutely confused the hell out of something, isn't it? Doesn't feel right, does it? At all. Sitting up here. Good rejection wicks on the DAX. Again, want to see a break of that candle. That's the last accumulation push before the high was put in. But the highs are getting tiny now. New high has gone from there to there. Nothing. Just about to ask how the New York traders would make money in a rotation. Yeah, well, they basically you'd be doing that, but the guys that will make the money will most likely be the guys that are taking the short rotations, because they will likely be thinking along the very, very same lines of this thing is unlikely to push higher today. It's having a very good go at it. So we got new high of the day just gone in. New high day on the NAS. The Dow has got a crack 33, 279, 297 rather. New highs on the DAX. Another sell stop going in under the lows. So the opening range break is now put in 115. Stop would have been 64. So you're not even at 2 to 1. 2 to 1 is here. And that's on a tight range. See, that's why I think these tight range trades are probably the best way. So that's 90 minutes in now. So this is 90 minutes. Basically, typically you have found the high of the session a lot of the time. So we'll see how we go. If we push up and accumulate and start to look bearish there, I would say we are probably higher day on the DAX. S&P broken highs. That level is held on the NAS. So previous high. It's yesterday's high basically we have just tapped into. And obviously yesterday's high is there on the S&P. So see if we get some decent volume coming in, sell volume coming in now. Start that rotation down. What a day. Big, big, big day. What's happening with everything else? Aussie dollars coming down very nicely. Whoops. Aussie New Zealand's rejected those highs at 100 ADR. Euro is still pushing. Getting some nice reversals though, potentially forming on these. It's weak. We've got very good divergence, bearish divergence with the RSI on the euros. Very good bearish divergence. Again, second bearish divergence there. A lot of sellers, a lot of selling pressure starting to arrive. Could be on the cusp. Let's have a look at the pounds. Pound's not gone anywhere much. Still within the London range. Wow. Cool, I thought the indices were tight. Look at that. Try trading that. Look at those wicks. Doesn't matter which direction you've gone, you're out. Terrible. New Zealand's just come down, taken out the lows. Reversal on New Zealand Swiss at the highs. What's going on with the US dollar? Pull back on the US dollar, which is why we're getting this push on the indices. So 125 again, US dollar, we're 125 ADR. We've done the move today. The most logical move is a pullback. Starting to roll over on the DAX potentially. Got bearish engulfing potentially forming. Still got over a minute left on that candle. So looking at the ADRs today, Aussie dollar Swiss has come straight off of 100 ADR. Nice rejection. Aussie New Zealand rejected 100. Reversal alert starting to drop. Euro CAD, we've got an M pattern forming on the Euro CAD. Reversal alert's miles away on that because you had that massive strong push. We got the M pattern forming off the back of. There's not really divergence on that. There's a bit of divergence on it. If you look at yesterday's high and today's high, definitely bearish. Euro Swiss, we've just had a reversal alert, retesting at the moment. Euro pound, so obviously we've got weak pound at the moment, which is giving this one a bigger push. 150 ADR on the cards there at the moment. Euro yen just put a new high in. So you've got a nice tight reversal alert on that as well, 50 pip stop. And Euro US dollar, retesting now for a potential drop as well. So pretty good reversal alerts today on the ADRs, but haven't played out yet. So we need to see what's going to happen with the rest of the afternoon. Bearish engulfing formed, just gone short. First entry on that. Bearish rejection across the board on the indices. Dow, really big one. DAX is at 132 ADR. God, that's accurate. I haven't got 132. Looking at the DAX hourly, there's a large propulsion gap that we're filling. Oh, the DAX. Not on mine. Obviously, you've got a different charting platform. I haven't got the pre-market stuff, so I haven't got my other platform open at the minute. Euro pounds just hit 150 ADR. Looks like the pound's coming down, maybe. Or is that just more euro strength? It's just more euro strength. The pound is the euro is way stronger than the pound at the minute. The pound is not weak. It's neutral at the moment, but we've got massive. It's the euro. Look, euro is being pumped really hard ahead of tomorrow's ECB. So one of two things is at play here. Either somebody knows something and it's been leaked that there's going to be a change in the euro rate tomorrow that we're not expecting, or this is the market pumping everybody long, getting everybody to enter long before the news tomorrow, and then they'll wick up, stop out and dump it. Oh yeah, I can see your propulsion gap. Yeah. Yeah, so that's good move down, rejection. Still accumulating here though. Bearish engulfings across all the indices, but we see if we get the follow through. We need a couple of red candles now just to show some signs of weakness, and we'll start to get some sellers stepping in. It's difficult to know when they're going to step in though. Maybe that people are just trying to hold stocks long at the minute. I don't know. Crazy buying stocks. Who knows which is going to be the next company to pull out of Russia? That company's stock is going to drop. Do you want to be holding any stock at the minute on any big company when they're all turning around and making decisions to cut their profits by reducing their exposure in Russia? It doesn't make sense. Shorted the DAX on M1. New Zealand dollar CAD is in a symmetrical triangle. What time frame? Yeah, I'm just contracting on the 4 hour. See that on the hourly as well. Going to pop. We've got no CAD news, have we, this week? I don't think. At least we have no Friday. We got CAD unemployment. It's going to go before then. It's not going to sit there and go sideways for another day. Can't last that long. It's going to go before that. God, redraw on this platform is so slow. I think I need to flick through all the charts and load a bit more data. US dollar's really ripping down. We could be seeing another leg up on the indices. So new low 125 ADR on the US dollar. Not happy today, is it? DAX looking bearish. My last post today as busy at work. Retailers mostly probably gone short now. Must be loads of liquidity above yesterday's high. Can the market makers leave a bag of money on the table? Who knows? We got news tomorrow, and we've got loads of news tomorrow. Obviously, it's the ECB refinancing rate tomorrow afternoon pre-market, and we've got the press conference and CPI pre-market. So highly likely, whatever they leave on the table today, they will come and grab it tomorrow. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, makes you wonder if they've just been reaching for things today, ready to reverse the whole lot tomorrow. All these pullbacks, especially on the euros, don't look natural and don't make fundamental sense at all either. So starting to drop. See how long we can ride this drop for. Going positive on the day on the S&P trade. Indices all coming down. So the question is, how much of a pullback are we going to put in on the daily. If you look at the average pullbacks, yeah, that's what you want to be gauging at the minute. What do we typically do? So fib on the day, like I've got on the DAX here. If you put fib on the whole day, which makes more sense. Oh, come on. Ah, just give me my fib. Proper market open is 9 a.m, which is there. So back into this accumulation, basically, potentially, or down into this support. Somewhere around there. Be looking for a drop. Or we're going to close on the highs and do that for the rest of the day, which would be very disappointing, but you never know. God, slow. Keep pushing oil. Is oil going? Is it? I've forgotten about my oil trade. Let's have a look. Yep. Okay, so that's started going. So I got initial entry there. I've got an add there, an add there, and an add at the highs. Going for 150 a barrel. So 125 ADR rejected there. That wick, look at that wick. Couldn't make it any more accurate, that wick, could you? Gap fill. We're talking this morning about why gaps get filled. Don't know the logic, but they do. And they are awesome support resistance. $150 easy. Yeah, I reckon 150. 4 short on S&P. I reckon, there's talk of $300 a barrel. I can't see that personally. I don't know. Anything goes at the minute, doesn't it? But yeah, I certainly think higher than where we are. We haven't really scratched the surface of this problem yet with oil. So I do think we've got plenty more room to the upside on oil, hence that trade. But I'm going to hold it. Well, I say I'm going to hold it. I'm going to try and hold it. I have this hideous problem of getting out of trades and then waiting for them to pull back and getting again. So if we get a decent push, if we get a sort of 100% ADR reversal back the other way today, I'll probably take a partial. I'll just take this one off. Not quite sure what the profit will be on that, to be honest. Up there. So I'm looking at about $500 up there. So I'll probably take one off up there. It's 1% gain. By the time I get there, I'll probably be something like 2% up. Second position short on the DAX. So keeping a close eye on price action at this level. We've got moving average and resistance and support. Support confluence there. Someone told you gaps are missed orders, which the market comes back to grab. Don't know. I mean, any orders you've got open at market close are closed. So there is no orders open. There'll be positions open which have not been completed, i.e. someone's entered a long, wanted to get out, didn't get a chance to get out or something. But that's more like an inefficiency in the market, which is what you see in the propulsion gaps. Whereas a proper gap is just basically the opening value of the commodity or the stock. So it's a different principle, but I don't know. Somebody, Diamond, I think was Googled it this morning. Didn't really find a reason. Just the fact that loads of people are obviously talking about the fact they fill. We know they fill. The actual logic behind why they fill, though, don't know. Don't care. You don't need to know why. This is the thing like with the COT report. I don't need to know why the futures market is long on a particular currency. I just need to know it's long on it. I don't need to know why gaps fill. As long as I know they fill, I'm all right. As long as they keep on doing what they're expected to do, that is. Gas prices in the US are absolutely crazy right now, David. Yeah, it's they're getting crazy over here as well. Not that I particularly care because I've got an electric car, but I'm more worried about my electricity bill. As long as that doesn't go through the roof. It's basically the same as petrol going up, isn't it? We're having a little bit of a pullback at the minute. Potential support on the 50. So we're looking for a break below the 50 and then a hold below the 50 to give some indication of this is actually a shorting. At the moment, we're putting a bullish engulfing in off the 20 on the DAX. Going to get stopped out on one of those. Jeez, impossible to trade this thing today. Horrible. The problem with trend trading and mean reversion trading, which everybody finds, is if you get into a trend and start trading a trend, that's when it starts to mean revert. If you start mean reverting a trend, that's when the trend continues. The one thing that we'll never ever be able to get right. So there's 0.5% loss on that entry. I'm going to stick one more sell below that low. I think I might have a bit too much. Should be fine. Distance should be fine, just bigger pullback. I've got to shoot off in 10 minutes. So I'm going to let these trades play out. I'm going to keep an eye on these on my tablet. And just try and ride these back down, basically. As far as they're going to go. I knew that was going to do that. I'm going to get in now. Second position. A little bit too tight to stop on this at the minute. So we're assuming market structure high. That's the pullback. So if you measure that pullback, if this is going to continue market structure to the downside, that's kind of where you want to look for stop distance. So it's about just over 600. So at 8, I should be safe, you would think. Okay, so again, looking for market structure to break that low. See how many legs back we can get. Just reducing my risk down. Oh, do I want to reduce my risk down from there? Got to really. Got too much on now. It's either going to work or it's not. We're either going to get a trend continuation on this and it's just going to be a slow grind accumulation and a hideous afternoon, or it is just going to do what I'm expecting it to do, which is pull back. So I don't want to risk it. I don't want to be sitting in drawdown in an accumulation at the highs when the market closes, because I'm going to have to close it anyway. So down on the day, 0.25%. Rode this one out into a little more drawdown that typically would be waiting for a pullback. Yeah, tough afternoon. And if you're trading silly tiny time frames for 2-point gains, in which case you've probably done very, very well. Rejection again. Total indecision in the market. Look, I really don't like the look of this afternoon. Just oil's pulling back as well. 125 ADR on Euro CAD. Euro US dollars 150 now. Look at that. Euro's off on one. This is why we're seeing this not dropping, basically. Euro is being pumped to death. Euro odd just hit ADR as well. 175 on the weekly on the Euro New Zealand. Unprecedented Fed action may have just started a global currency crisis. The Fed, likely acting orders from the Biden administration, froze the US dollar reserve assets in Russia. Some may cheer this, others not, but perhaps by the time I finish this post, those cheering now have second thoughts. Federal Reserve Act mandates, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it's not red news. It's just an article. Just caught my headline, the attention. The headline caught my attention. Unprecedented Fed action. I was expecting them to have just done something new, but... so still pushing a little bit on the DAX. Oil's recovering slightly. Okay, so that opening range high, the 90-minute, works wonders quite a lot of the time. That is the high of the day or the high of the session. Right, I'm going to have to leave it there for a minute. I've got some bits and pieces I've got to do. So I'm just going to babysit these trades on my tablet. Looking, as I say, for pullback on the day. I mean, a complete reversal on the day would be absolutely lovely, but a pullback on the day. Anywhere around about 38 to 50 retracement. And then obviously if the market wants to rally end of day and put in a strong close candle, that's absolutely fine. But we should see some kind of pullback typically forming, but it's obviously not at the moment. So we're just struggling around these highs to find any signs of seller price action coming in. It's just no strong sellers in the market at the moment. And obviously we are dwindling dramatically on volume now. So quite possibly we're just going to get a slow grind. After lunch, sort of 6 o'clock onwards UK time, we'll probably find we get another flurry of volume coming in. And then see if we can get, a decent after lunch move end of day. If we don't get it now, obviously, we'll be looking for it end of day. And obviously if it does come down, end of day could push it back up the other way. So just sitting waiting really for price action. There's nothing happening. Markets are just completely frozen and horrible. So we'll sit here and wait and see. So that's all I'm doing this afternoon. I'm going to play these out. Target wise, obviously I'm looking for a decent retracement on these. Anywhere around here really for an exit, which would be a very nice profit for the afternoon, but at the minute it's just not going anywhere. So I'll see how those play out. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the normal Frankfurt session, 10 to 8. News-wise, nothing to worry about at the moment for news tomorrow morning. The only thing we've got tomorrow is obviously the press conference and rate and CPI. So that's all after the Frankfurt session before New York. So we'll see what happens around there tomorrow. But obviously if you've got any euro trades on that you've got longs on at the moment, we're pushing very, very hard. This is obviously what's slamming the DAX up and all the indices at the minute. So just be careful with those, because there's a good likelihood that this will be the final flurry that we're seeing at the moment. And then tomorrow, this could all get reversed very, very, very quickly. So milk them while they're there, but just be aware this might be the last leg up before we come down. So getting way higher than I was expecting on these, which is good. But these are the areas that we're looking at. Just look for candles in the opposite direction before the drops. Those are kind of lined in the sands. If we get up to there, unlikely we would get much higher than that. So unless they come out, as I say, ECB could come out and say anything tomorrow. So we will see. Still pushing up on the DAX. Indices still not going anywhere else. So looking bearish though. We are getting bearish. So we've got market structure forming, which is good. Yeah. Potentially they're all looking like they're starting bear moves. Just need these lows taken out. If we get those lows taken out, we've officially gone bearish. And then it's just how long we can continue the bearish move for. But we've got to get it locked in first. We need that low broken. Get the market structure in place. All right, so I'll leave you there. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 to 8 for the Frankfurt session. Good luck this afternoon. Hopefully these will all play out this afternoon. And I'm just about to get it taken out one by the looks of things. So hopefully these play out this afternoon. We can get some money in the bank. I'll put in the Telegram group what happened, good or bad, and we'll see where we are end of day. But have a good one. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:50, and hopefully have a good afternoon.